Would you date a liberal?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I would not.
So I have, and it's actually very difficult. I probably wouldn't do it again.
I've dated a liberal before.
How'd it go?
It's ended.
Okay. Would you do it again?
I mean, at the end of the day, a person is, if a person has been confused about their political ideology and most importantly, becoming a liberal, it's probably because of certain things that's happened in their past. And I wouldn't hold it against them immediately, but I would try to share the light, spread the truth.
Personally, I think who you choose, well, dating is for marriage, and so who I want to be married to one day, I think it's really important that we share those political values because that really affects the way that we raise our kids and just create the culture for our family.
Absolutely not.
Why?
I don't think we have the same core values, same religious values. They would bring nothing to the table.
When I was younger and not that knowledgeable about politics, I didn't think it mattered because, I don't know, but I soon realized that you need to have the same shared values if you want anything to happen in the future.
We're talking about liberal or leftist. I'd say I would date I would date someone who's more moderate. I would say it depends on the principles the person holds rather than the policies. And I mean, she's got blue hair and she's got face tattoos. I'm not down with that.
I'm actually dating a liberal, so yeah, it works, I guess, for me at least for now. He's not as vocal about his politics as I am, but it works.
My morals and my beliefs don't align with the liberal agenda, so
I think it would be difficult to date a
very
liberal.
difficult. There would be no point because I could never marry someone. It would be way too much conflict.
Maybe slightly socially liberal, but not fiscally liberal. So they have to be fiscally conservative for me. And we can argue about the social stuff.
I would not date a liberal because I am very purposeful when I date. I'm looking to get married, and I just know that I couldn't have a family with people who we have just opposite values.
No, I would not date a liberal.
Why?
Because they, generally speaking, don't share my values, and it doesn't make sense to me, especially when you're talking about raising kids in the future. Like, oh, this person, we have very different values. How's that going to play out when you're trying to raise a family and raise kids? That seems like a bad idea.
I would date someone who's more left-leaning as long as they're more understanding and willing to have a conversation about it.
What about you?
I actually tried it last semester. It was a good time, but it didn't end well.
Can you expound upon that?
Well, actually, I was taking a public policy class to climate change. And the professor was very liberal, and one day I just kind of I was tired of it.
Did you date your professor?
No. I'm getting to the story, man. This is just the meat of it.
Absolutely not.
Why?
I don't want to be with somebody who I'm going to be arguing with every day.
You think you would be arguing with him every day?
Probably. I've seen enough evidence with enough of my friends that it doesn't get anywhere. I'm one of those kind of people. I can agree to disagree, but I've known too many of them that they don't like to do that. And even when the topic is not about politics, somehow it will end up about politics. We're talking about spaghetti, and somehow it ends up about how much they hate Trump. I don't know.